Indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Hello everyone, my name is Danny, and this review is for the movie called Indivisible. Indivisible is the extraordinary true story of Army Chaplain Darren Turner and his wife Heather, whose lives are fully devoted to serving God, family, and country. But when war etches deep battle scars, both overseas and on the home front, the Turners' rock-solid marriage is shaken to its core. Carrying burdens the other can't comprehend, they must decide if they're willing to face one more battle, the fight to save their marriage. From the director of The Grace Card and the studio that brought you Fireproof and War Room comes Indivisible, the story of one marriage, one family, under God. This is a 2018 film. It's rated PG-13, and it runs 2 hours. And it stars Sarah Drew, Justin Bruning, Jason George, Madeline Carroll, Tanner Stein, with Michael O'Neill, Tia Mowry, and Eric Close. Indivisible. Well, I hate to be so dramatic, but if you haven't guessed it yet, my level of dramaticness is exactly what this movie offers. It's one thing after another, and it's, oh my gosh, we gotta say that line, and oh, you can't do that like that, you don't love me. It's like, come on. I can understand, I only heard like minimal things about this movie not representing the lifestyle of the Army, and it's like nice, but you know, it doesn't reflect anything accurate. That's all I heard before I watched this movie. It was months ago when it was in theaters and nobody saw it. I liked it. I don't understand, you know, anybody like berating this movie, saying that it's not accurate or whatever. I mean, like, you'd have to actually explain to me what's not accurate. So I enjoyed everything. I appreciated how they did the movie, why they did the movie, all that. So we'll get into some notes, but it's just, you know, like, it doesn't need to be hated whatsoever. And I kind of felt some hate online when I knew this movie was out in theaters, and I saw some news articles, and I didn't really want to see, obviously. This movie is very emotional. I kind of enjoyed it, to be honest. You know, I mean, you have to cry in movies every once in a while. And you know it's good and effective, and what they're doing is, you know, useful when they're doing it, if you cry at any point in any movie ever. So I you know, would warn you to know that it is obviously emotional, but to embrace it. You know, like, that is one of the better parts of this movie. And you know that there are other parts, so, you know, be prepared for the emotional part, because, you know, it kind of works for the movie, and it really, I think they should have done more of it. You know, when you only have a couple emotional spots, that's great, but, you know, work on that, feed on that. The stuff I was doing earlier, I saw that throughout the movie, the effect of being overly dramatic. And there's this running sequence from a bomb, and I know that's, you know, very heavy and serious and all that, but you don't need to go slow motion in it. You just don't. You know what I mean? Just have them run from the bomb and move on with the film, keep it going. You know, there's other stuff, but that was like the first thing I really obviously was like, okay, come on. Let's go. Let's not do this. And then it kind of kept that element going throughout the movie, and I'm like, oh, man. I hate to be, you know, going against my own advice here, but I do have to say a couple negative things about the movie. It's very, very obvious what's coming. I found myself saying some lines before the character on screen said it. And I heard myself, talking, out loud about what was going to happen the next scene as soon as somebody said like a trigger sentence. And I was like, yep, that's what's going to happen. And it ends up happening. And I'm like, yep, I knew it. So, I don't know if it's the way they made the movie or the characters saying their lines in such an obvious way, but it just is so predictable. And it's sad to see that in a Christian movie that has the emotion. It has, elements in it that want it to be good. When it starts to be predictable, you're just like, I can't do much with this because it's just so bad that everything coming is so obvious. It's just on the lowest amateur level. So I just start to feel bad for the movie when things like that happen. This might be like a stupid question, but why is it that in a movie like this, that's Christian, it's supposed to practice Christian values and be about that. It's why they made the movie. Why is it that their jerk characters kind of end up being like the example of what it means to be a Christian? And this guy that's a pastor or chaplain is really great, at spreading the message and talking to people and understanding them and working them through, trying to soften their heart. That he is the one that, ends up struggling. It's just so cliche, and myself, I've been running through a lot of really people I cannot understand are pastors on this planet. I've run through a lot of them. I've gone to a lot of churches, being a musician, going to churches, contacting churches to see if they'll let me sing there. I don't hear anything back, people. This is the day and age we're living in, is people that are pastors aren't the example of being nice. And this movie, I think, is a good portrayal that chaplains and pastors and their families aren't always the perfect picture. There's a lot going on, and they have their own problems, and this is like the message to say, you know what? Yeah, they are human beings. Yeah, they are, not always the nicest people. But when you go to church, you got to act nice, and you got to be nice, and you can't just call them on their stuff because they're a pastor. So I don't know if we're ever going to be, in a situation where you can talk to a pastor about what they're doing. But this is like what happens at the end of this movie is this guy talks to him very plainly, calls him on his stuff, gets him to snap out of his funk. I think more people should be able to do that, but we're not. We don't live in an appropriate time to be able to talk to a pastor so bluntly. So, especially with all the issues going on. So I kind of appreciated at the end, there's this character that talks to the chaplain, trying to get him out of his funk. I appreciate that. And I liked how they did that. And I thought it was a good bolt to the movie from being, so kind of predictable and emotional and dramatic. And I was like, yes, that's something real. We need more of that. That's good. My last thing is just kind of like I'm kind of heaping on what I've been saying, I guess, for 9 minutes. But the wife in this movie, I just have this feeling that she's like really horrible at acting, but like everybody else kind of catches on to her disease, and they have moments where they're just smiling. They have moments where a line, there's no talking whatsoever. And then all of a sudden somebody just delivers a line, and I'm like, okay, come on. Let's, smooth things out. Let's have some good directing. Let's smooth out the movie here a little bit. But I just kind of felt like the acting is kind of horrible. And I hate it when I have that nagging feeling in the back of my mind when I'm watching a movie that I'm enjoying. I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm kind of enjoying these parts and not that part. And then all of a sudden I'm like, man, this acting kind of sucks. And I hate to have that feeling about a Christian movie, especially with all the music that they have in this. It's totally appropriate for the feeling that you need to be feeling. And I just think that everything that is in this movie altogether was just kind of a murky mess. And obviously, some people didn't appreciate the way it was made. I don't really understand that, but I did enjoy most parts. It's just everybody is okay at the acting stuff. It's just the lines are delivered weird, and the wife just her lines that she's given towards the end of this make her seem like someone who cannot comprehend the fact that somebody went to war and now they're a little bit messed up. You know, she just some of her lines are way over the edge, way over dramatic, not delivered appropriately with the right facial expressions, and it's just terrible. It just ruins the movie for like 20 minutes. It just keeps going. You know, she just keeps saying things, and it's just terrible. So I really didn't hate this movie at all. I'm sorry if you get that, impression after 11, 12 minutes, but I'm going to give Indivisible a B+. I really wanted to give it an A. I think the wife kind of ruins it for me, and just in the back of my mind, knowing that this is a true story and this is their version of interpreting it, I don't think helped out the family and their story. It's a nice movie. It's just not the best I've ever seen. And there have been some other kind of true story things about war that have been like this. And so it really doesn't measure up to those either. So a B+ for Indivisible. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And as always, enjoy your movies. Thanks.